So what makes a Call of Duty multiplayer good or bad? I asked you guys over on Twitter, and you all had some pretty interesting answers. I have 5 things here that I think make or break a Call of Duty title. These are the 5 things that whenever a new COD comes out, these are the 5 things I look at first and the 5 things I really want the game to succeed in. Obviously, there's a lot of other minor things that do matter as well, but these are the 5 things that to me matter the most and could easily make or break any Call of Duty title. So the number 5 spot, I'm going to have balance. Now, this is overall balance, not just weapon balance. This also has to do with the equipment, the kill streaks, everything, not just the actual gun balance itself. This is important to me because I want variety in my matches. I want to be able to use a bunch of different weapons, not only have a few weapons be viable while the rest are trash. I think tons of COD games have done great in this, specifically Black Ops 3 I actually think was one of the best in terms of gun balance. It felt like every gun felt like it had a place in the game, which to me is one of the reasons I absolutely love that multiplayer. Even Black Ops 2 multiplayer to me has really good weapon balance. Honestly, Cold War multiplayer I think has some pretty solid weapon balance as well. It just feels like a lot of weapons are viable in most situations, so you don't really feel like there's a lot of times where you're stuck using a trash weapon. There really is no trash weapons necessarily. You can do good with a lot of different weapons, and there isn't really any weapon that's too overpowered to the point where everyone's only using that one weapon, like you saw in like Infinite Warfare with the NV4, or you saw in COD 4 with the M16. Gun balance is important, but honestly, I think what's even more important is, of course, the equipment balance. I never think they should ever have overpowered equipment. Claymores, grenades, any of that stuff should never be too obnoxiously overpowered because it doesn't really take much skill to use. A gun will actually take some skill to use in terms of having to aim and shoot, assuming the game has a decently long time to kill. It's going to take a lot of skill to kill people with certain guns, especially if it's a sniper rifle. Let's say there's no aim assist like a Black Ops 3. It takes a lot of skill to use a sniper, so whether or not they balance those properly, it's not as important as something like a claymore, which you just throw down somewhere and it can kill anyone on the map at any time. There's really no skill involved in killing someone with a claymore, so those should definitely not be powerful, and I think a lot of games have not done a good job with this, where there's been way too many overpowered equipment or even overpowered attachments like the noob tubes from Modern Warfare 2. Stuff like that can ruin the game. Even perks. Sometimes you have some overpowered perks, like in some of the older CODs like COD 4, World at War, where you had Juggernaut and you had stopping power. There was no reason to use any other perks in that perk 2 category because you had those 2 really overpowered perks, so that kind of restricted some creativity and customization and variety because you were just stuck using the same 2 perks for every class pretty much, because why would you ever choose anything else? You'd be at a significant disadvantage by putting on anything else. So I think balance is really important. Some people say that sometimes having less balance makes it more fun, and I don't agree with that at all. Less balance is only going to be more fun if you're the only one abusing those unbalanced weapons. If you're the one abusing the noob tubes in Modern Warfare 2, you're the one abusing the M16, you're the one abusing all these overpowered weapons, yes, you will have fun, but that's assuming that no one else is abusing those same things as well. It's not fun, especially today, trying to go back to Modern Warfare 2 when everyone's using one-man army, noob tubes, Commando Pro, UMPs and everything, and everyone's using it, they're all abusing these really overpowered things. It's not fun anymore because now they're doing just as crazy as you are when it comes to their power because they have such overpowered stuff. So it's not fun anymore. I don't think unbalanced stuff's ever going to be fun. I think balance is important, and it's one of those things that I don't think will make or break a COD right away because it can kind of change over time a lot. Out of all the things on this list, this is the thing that can change the most because they're always tweaking weapon balance and equipment balance and streak balance and all that stuff. They're always adjusting the values of how powerful these things are. So even if a game does really bad with this at launch, it can definitely change over time. So that's why I don't think it's as important as some of these other things on the list, just because it can change drastically throughout the COD's lifecycle. Number 4 is going to be customization. Now, this is not just cosmetic customization, but also customization that actually will affect your gameplay, like attachments on weapons and such. Customization is huge because it really does affect the replayability of a game substantially. If you have a lot more options and a lot more variety of choices when it comes to your create a class, or when it comes to how you can design your character, or how you can design your weapon, or whatever it may be, that is going to to really make these games a lot more fun. And what to me is most important about the customization part of a game is how you earn these things, right? Because you could have a game with some really awesome customization, some really awesome cosmetics, but they can all be behind a paywall, and it kind of makes it not as enjoyable. But of course, there are a lot of Call of Duties where they do have a lot of awesome things you can grind for that you can use on your character or also use on your weapon. This includes stuff like the Dark Matter camos that we've seen in a lot of Call of Duties as of recently, and those are always really fun to grind for. Not only do I want these to look cool, these camos, but I also want them to be fun to go for, so don't have ridiculous challenges like a lot of long shot challenges or mounting your gun for 200 kills or something. Make it so they're fun challenges that I want to go for, and the rewarding in the end because the camo is actually good looking. And having a lot more of these is even better. I mean, you look at like World War II, they had the chrome camo, but then they also had Chrome Tiger, which was on top of Chrome. Modern Warfare had Obsidian, which was another thing as well. Obviously, Black Ops Cold War has its own separate camos for zombies as well, so there's a whole nother category for you to grind for. I really like seeing all of that, and I really think it's an important thing, but I want to see these games go even further than that, and a lot of them have gone further than that, specifically with the supply drop games. I know people hate supply drops, but in terms of customization, supply drops actually did a lot of cool things for the franchise. I just hated how they locked guns and supply drops in a couple of the games, but when it comes to World War II, Black Ops 4's current system, Modern Warfare Remastered, you could earn a lot of these awesome cosmetics just by playing the game, and you don't have to rely on luck. Luck can definitely speed up the process a little bit of you earning these things, but you can still earn them directly just by playing the game and getting them yourself. I love all those different customization options, and it kind of enhances the replayability of the game because there's a lot of stuff for you to work for, and then you get to use a lot of the stuff that you work for to customize your character even more. And then obviously when it comes to weapons, I like having a lot of attachment options. Of course, the Gunsmith is a pretty cool system because you get all these attachment options, but unfortunately the creative class in some of the recent CODs I haven't really liked because they restrict customization in other avenues. So to me, Pick 10 was probably the best system we've ever had because of how it allowed so much different diversity in play styles and customization in your class. You can have a secondary with 6 perks, you can have no perks and all attachments, you can have half and half, you can really split up your class whatever way you want, really, which was awesome. To me, that's a lot better than the older CODs where you would barely have any customization. You would have like maybe one attachment per weapon, and you were forced to have one of each perk category, and some of them didn't even have a lot of kill streaks. Like look back at COD 4 and World at War, you only had 3 kill streaks. You couldn't even customize your own damn kill streaks. So obviously this is something that COD has done better, and over time I think customization is definitely better now. Maybe more so in like World War II, Black Ops 4, MWR, and those games as opposed to Modern Warfare and Cold War, only because a lot of the cool customizable stuff you have to actually pay for when it comes to cosmetics, so I'm not a big fan of that. But there's a lot of awesome stuff to grind for in a lot of these games regardless, and to me that's definitely one of the most important things to what's going to make Call of Duty multiplayer fun or not. Number 3 is actually going to be the kill streaks, not just the kill streaks themselves, but also the kill streak system. I do not like the kill streak system that we had in Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, or even in Modern Warfare 2019. I think it's much better to have score streaks or point streaks. Definitely score streaks over point streaks, but point streaks are still okay in their own way. It's just I'd much prefer to have score streaks like we did in Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, and of course Infinite Warfare. It's definitely a system I'd like to see again and again and again. I don't hate the Cold War system, but I do think it's a little odd, and I kind of wish we just had the normal score streaks that we had before, although it does definitely, not encourage camping as much as maybe the other systems did. Score streaks though, streaks as a whole, very important to me personally. A lot of people probably don't care about this as much as I do, but streaks are one of the most unique features of Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a very interesting arcade shooter. There's definitely a lot of features that are very much shared with other games, but I feel like streaks are the one thing that COD was most original in. I'm not too sure if they did take this from another game that I just don't know of, but I've never heard of a system like this where you earn stuff for staying alive and getting multiple kills. Of course, I've seen other games where there's like kill chains and you get more score for it or something for going on kill chains, but not in the same way as you earn actual like weapons or something. You earn like a missile or a UAV or an attack chopper or whatever it may be from getting kills within the same life. I think it's such a unique feature and I really like it. I feel like I find myself going for streaks most of the time when playing Call of Duty, like when I hop on, that's my objective, is to get the high streaks in the game, or to get a nuke, or to get something in the game. I don't really tend to care all that much about playing the objective or doing this other stuff. I always want to just get the highest streaks, and that's why I always run the highest streaks. If you ever watch my gameplay, I'm almost always running the highest streaks in the game. I know a lot of people who like to run UAV, counter UAV, and like a Hellstorm missile or something, and I'm just not about that. Like, I want to run the highest stuff possible. Maybe the lowest thing I'll use is UAV, just so I can get that UAV to kind of build me up and, you know, make it easier for me to get to the other stuff. But then my next 2 streaks are usually going to be like a gunship or an attack chopper or something that's a lot higher. That's just how I enjoy playing Call of Duty. I enjoy striving to get those high streaks. To me, that's one of the best parts about it. I want them to be fun. I want them to be good. I want them to be diverse, unique, interesting. I think Black Ops 2 has some of the best streaks of all time, as well as Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4. They all have some really solid streaks, but I do find the streaks to be the most fun and unique and cool within Black Ops 2. Modern Warfare 2 streaks are really good as well, but because it's a kill streak system, people camp their asses off for those streaks, and I think it actually kind of ruined a big part of the game for me because of how insane camping is in Modern Warfare 2, because everyone's trying to camp for those high tiered kill streaks. So yeah, I'm always really excited to see what the new kill streaks are going to be in a new Call of Duty game, and I'm really excited to see what they can do in the future ones going forward. Number 2 is going to be the maps. Obviously, this is a very, very obvious one. I'm assuming almost everyone has this within their top 5. Maps are really important. I mean, look at a game like Call of Duty Ghosts, for example. That game is like a night and day difference when you look at the launch maps and the DLC maps. The launch maps are terrible for the most part, and the DLC maps are really good for the most part. So when you play the DLC maps in Ghosts, you usually have a much better time, and it's usually a much better game. But when you play the launch maps, it's like one of the worst Call of Duties of all time. I would argue that launch day Call of Duty Ghosts is the worst multiplayer of all time because of how bad the maps are. There's maybe 3 or 4 maps that are actually decent. The rest are atrocious. So that really hurt Ghost, but then the DLC was just so good that it lifted the game up from the ground at least a little bit for me. So I'm not just going to say, oh, I want the maps to be good, because that's very vague. What actually makes a map good? I've talked about this before, but for me personally, of course, this is subjective. It's always going to be subjective. This entire video has been subjective. But for me personally, what I like to see when it comes to maps, I want diversity in terms of the locations. I do not like seeing the same locations for maps. Locations matter for me. I know a lot of people don't give a shit, but they matter. I don't want the same gray Russian locations, or like Model for 2019, for example. Most of the maps were in like Verdansk or Uzbekistan or whatever the hell that other country was in the game. Very, you know, ununique locations that we just see again and again and again throughout the multiplayer. I want to see a bunch of different places. Like Black Ops Cold War goes to Miami. They go to like the Africa in one of the places. You go to like I think one of them's in Vietnam, or at least near Vietnam. A lot of different places that they go to. There's some of them in the United States as well. That's what I like to see. I want to see a bunch of different locations. Places that are sandy, places that are snowy, places that are woodlands, places that are like cities. Everything. I want it to be colorful as well. Not too colorful, but colorful enough, especially if it fits the vibe of the game. That is important to me. And when it comes to actual map design, I prefer a 3-lane map design. It doesn't have to be very linear like a lot of other 3-lane maps, but it has to at least have that core 3-lane design to it, which actually gives it decent flow. The map shouldn't be too big unless it's 12v12 or, you know, higher player counts, then you can make it bigger. But if it's a smaller map, or if it's 6v6, it needs to be smaller, like small to medium size. Never make a large 6v6 map. That's a terrible idea. If you're gonna make it large, make it 12v12, like Combined Arms within Cold War. That's how you should always do it. And again, make the flow well. Don't have too many flank routes on the map. Have some interesting stuff on all maps. I like dynamic maps. I like maps that change around a lot, that have cool features on it, but don't add in a bunch of doors and stuff. Don't make it so there's a lot of camping spots. Don't make this so there's a lot of safe spaces. Just make it so the map flows well. Every location leads to something that's eventually going to lead to the middle of the map, which pushes a lot of the action towards the center, so people aren't camping around the outskirts as much, and instead people are more motivated to kind of go into the middle of the map where all the action will be. Obviously, it depends on the game mode. Certain game modes might work better. Just make it so it works for as many game modes as possible. I think that's really damn important, but don't make every map the same either. You can have them all be 3-laned while also still being very different when it comes to layout. You can still do that. It's very possible. We've seen it done before. We've seen it done plenty of times, especially Black Ops 2, Black Ops 4 are some of the best examples of that, I would say. So yeah, maps are huge to me, and I think a lot of people would agree. Number 1 is something that I don't think a lot of people realize makes as big of an impact in the multiplayer as you really would think. I feel like this probably impacts everyone's enjoyment of a Call of Duty game. They just don't really realize it. They don't think about it. They blame other stuff in the game. They blame the maps. They blame, the hit detection or whatever it may be. They blame a lot of things. But I think at the end of the day, one of the most important things, and in my opinion, the most important thing, is the time to kill. Now, this is up to opinion. Of course, you might like a fast time to kill. You might like a slow time to kill. You might like something dead in the middle. I don't know. Me personally, I will always prefer a slower time to kill. Now, I'm not saying it has to be crazy slow, but I'm thinking something between Black Ops 4 and like World War II is, to me, a solid time to kill. So basically on the slower end of Call of Duty titles, I think Infinite Warfare, Black Ops 3, all those games had really solid time to kills. They were nice and slow, but not, you don't have to go beyond Black Ops 4's slowness to the point where it's like ridiculously slow. I don't think Call of Duty should ever go that far, but Black Ops 4 I think was fine. I think Cold War is fine. I think a lot of these games have fine time to kills. It's not just about the time to kill either. You need to make sure the headshot multipliers aren't too crazy. The flinch needs to be accurately done. I think that's the problem I have with Cold War though, is that although they have a good time to kill, their headshot multiplier is way too high, and because there's no flinch, it's just really weird how everything works, especially with sniper rifles. I mean, sniper rifles are just dominant in that game with no flinch. It's kind of ridiculous, but in terms of time to kill itself, I do think it's really good in Cold War. I think it's really good in Black Ops 4, Infinite Warfare, Black Ops 3, World War II. All these games that have lower time to kills, slower time to kills, much better, right? Much better. Then you got games like Ghosts, Modern Warfare 2019, Modern Warfare 3, games that have really fast time to kills, and I just don't like that. I think it really does take away a lot of the skill that is involved in Call of Duty, and it also slows down the pace of the gameplay substantially when you make the time to kill so fast. People are afraid to move around as much because they know when they leave their building that they're hiding in, they're going to get shot from across the map and die in like 2 shots, and they have nothing. There's nothing they can do about it. It makes gunfights a lot more fun when the time to kill is slower. I made a whole video on this. I'm not going to reiterate myself. Definitely go check out that video if you're interested to hear what I have to say more in depth about this, but time to kill is so important. For me, at this point in time, it can make or break a game. If the next Call of Duty is announced and they say the time to kill is as fast as Modern Warfare 2019, the game will literally drop like 50% in terms of my excitement for it. Like, I will literally have so much less excitement for it just from them announcing that the time to kill is slow or is faster than Modern Warfare 2019. I will lose so much interest so quickly. It's not even funny. I really hope they don't do that. And I know this for a fact. I know I feel this way because I've tried so many CODs out with fast time to kills, and it's just, it can't be a coincidence that my favorite CODs are the ones that are all slower time to kills for the most part. It just can't be a coincidence. I even tried Call of Duty Ghosts out, right? Call of Duty Ghosts, the fastest time to kill in Call of Duty history. They had a game mode called Heavy Duty, which was only there for limited time. I don't think it's there right now, but I remember playing it back in the day where the Heavy Duty mode had a slower time to kill. I think the health was like 130 or 150 or something. It played so much better than every other mode in the game. It's insane. It played so much better. It was by far the best mode in COD Ghosts, and it actually made COD Ghosts really fun for me. And it's one of those games that I have fun sometimes, but a lot of the time not so much. I think the time to kill is a big reason why I don't have a lot of fun in it. It's very slow, very campy. People don't really move a lot because of that, and when they do move, they get shot across the map from someone who has no thumbs, basically, because it's how Ghosts works. But in this heavy duty game mode, people were moving. People were going all over the place because they knew they could actually have a chance in gunfights if they're going against people who aren't that good. Obviously, you're going to get outgunned if you're versing someone really good, most likely, assuming they have good gun skill, because the gun skill actually matters here. It made gunfights so much more fun, going around shooting people with the honey badger. I had a great time with that mode. I actually recently played a custom match of COD Ghosts with the time to kill to 150, or not the time to kill, the health. The health is different than the time to kill. You could have different health with the same time to kill. It doesn't really matter, but I put the health to 150. It was so much more fun. Ghosts was like it was a crazy different experience. Did the same thing in Modern Warfare 2019. A lot more fun. It's insane how much more enjoyable these games can be when the time to kill is slower, for me personally. So I think time to kill is the most important thing at the end of the day. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I will see you guys in my next one. Peace out.